Beloved, and welcome to Deborah's Tree. I got a word from the God on high. I got a word that will change your life. Hear from the God who gave you life and sit under my tree. Yeah. I love that theme song. Okay, so today we're going to be talking about respectability, the Black church's role, and the Great Migration, and how they all mix together in a great, amazing salad. Okay, so while I get ready. So, what's respectability? I'm going to tell you. Hold up. So, respectability is the idea that your actions can dictate your standing and your status in your community. So that's what respectability is for these purposes. Now, it does have other definitions, other uses, etc., but for this content, for what I'm talking about, which is respectable dress, I use this definition. I came up with this definition. Okay? So, now, if I'm talking about respectability, I want to talk about the Black church's role in the late 1800s, early 1900s, and what post-slavery, post-Civil War, and what it actually was meant to do. It was meant to guide and lead the community during those times, during the times of the formative years, you want to say. It was like the training wheels, okay? So it provided education. It provided political guidance. It provided moral and spiritual guidance, and it provided jobs. So it provided four things, the Black church, and that was its role. It was the center of the community. Okay? So while I go in with my favorite color, which is this. Okay, so that's the Black church's role. And now you're like, okay, I get you. I'm following you. But the Great Migration? What? I'm going to tell you. Hold up. So the Great Migration, right, was when the South, the Southern Black people, moved from the North to the South to flee legal persecution because Jim Crow was coming about then, and to get better job opportunities because not everybody wanted to be a sharecropper, So they really went to the North for a better life, better opportunities. And when they got there, was the color green and the streets made of gold? No. They only had opportunities available. Limited opportunities available, more opportunities why can I not speak? More opportunities than the South, but still limited. Okay, so they had to work at night. And it came with sort of a reputation, like Taylor Swift. So it came with a bad reputation, and the urban Black middle class were not with it because they were like, no. My skin is the same color of your skin, and white people are going to lump us in. Okay? No, this is not it. So they went about differentiating themselves through dress. Remember, do you go back to yesteryear when I talked about the definition of respectability. Respectability is the idea that your standing and your status can be illustrated through your actions. One action being the way you look, the way you dress. Okay? So that's one way they did it. They also did it in the way they spoke. They also did it in their community service, Bible study, all sorts of things, in particularly women. And we get into that next video. Why women? Why was it so pointed towards women? Okay? So now we have respectability, we have the Black church's role, and we have the Great Migration. And now you're like, okay, I get respectable dress came about by the Great Migration. How did the Black church get involved? You said urban middle class. Now, before I get to that, I want to talk about something. Self-surveillance, self-policing, the fear of being judged. Now, let's get into this before, because it's going to make sense once I get into this. So, I was reading this article when I first researched this topic. My very first article that I read. Was it? Yes, it was. My very first article was this article. I forgot who it's by, but I'm going to put it in the link below. Called A Will to Adorn. Now you're like, ooh, what a snappy title, right? And I'm like, yeah, it is. It's a very snappy title. So you're like, okay, A Will to Adorn. And it was basically gave me all this information that I'm regurgitating to you. But it also talked about this idea of self-policing and self-surveillance. And with self-surveillance, the definition is the fear of being judged. So therefore, you judge your own community. So you fear that an outside force is judging you. So then you judge your own community. And that's what these urban middle class women in particularly did. They started judging, not just judging, but critiquing and making rules based on this fear. And that's where the policing came in. The policing came in when you start making rules for people to abide by because you're afraid that people are judging you. Now, okay, they're afraid of people judging them. Why? What's the basis of this fear? You remember, Jim Crow was coming about, right? And urban middle class Blacks were afraid that Jim Crow was going to come to the North. I don't know how irrational that was, but they were pretty perturbed. So they started, critiquing their own. And getting back to the Black church, because the Black church was such a center of community, a lot of these people, a lot of these women were affiliated and associated with the church. Oh, so now this idea of self-policing, respectable dress, it started to have a moral tone. It started to have a spiritual tint to it. And that's where you get a little, murky. So you're like, That makes total sense. Yeah. You see? All right, folks, I'm going to finish my makeup off camera and then I'll come back. All right. Bye, y'all. Alrighty, beloved. Here I am, ready to go. Fabulous. So next time we're going to be talking about women's role in the Black church. It's gonna be really interesting. We're gonna be cooking. Woo! Cooking. Cooking. My favorite thing to do. So come join me. Bye, and have a blessed and beautiful day.